Audrey Werro showed up in Paris on Sunday night and did something no woman in modern athletics has ever done. The track was hot, the crowd was loud, and by the time she crossed that finish line, the 800-meter world had a serious problem on its hands, because the number on the clock forces a question nobody has seriously asked in over 4 decades. So what exactly happened at the Stade Charlotte? Let's break it down. To understand why this moment is so big, you first need to know who Audrey Werro actually is. Audrey Werro is 22 years old. She was born on March 27, 2004, in Freiburg, Switzerland. She started running at the age of 9 and has had the same coach her entire life, Christian Berset-Neufer, who has been with her since the very beginning. The Guardian now, when you look at where Werro was just 2 years ago, it puts everything in perspective. She was a promising under-20 runner. She won silver at the 2022 World U20 Championships in Cali. That was a big deal for her at the time, but she was still largely unknown outside of European athletic circles. The moment that changed everything came in August 2025 at the Diamond League final in Zurich. Werro won the 800 meters on home soil, running a Swiss national record of 1 minute 55.91 in front of her own crowd. That performance put her in conversations she had never been part of before. She went to the World Championships in Tokyo that same year and reached the final, finishing 6th. She was building something. Then 2026 started, and she shifted into a completely different gear. She won the World Indoor Silver Medal in Torun in March behind Olympic champion Keely Hodgkinson, running 1 minute 56.64 and moving to 5th on the all-time indoor list. She opened her outdoor season in Rabat with a meeting record. She beat the reigning world champion Lilian Odira, and then on June 7th in Stockholm, she ran 1 minute 53.98 and moved to 3rd on the all-time list, stunning the sport. Just 3 weeks later, she came to Paris. What did she do that made Stockholm look like a warm-up? Before we get into what happened lap by lap, here is the context you need. France had been sitting under a heat wave all weekend. There were real doubts about whether the Paris Diamond League could go ahead safely. It did. And the performances that came out of that heat were not what anybody expected. Werro had been public about her intentions going into this race. She wanted to go after the world record pace. The halfway target was set at 55.5 seconds for the first lap. That tells you everything about how aggressive the plan was. The pacemaker, Meert van der Scoot, went through 400 meters in 55.35. Right on target. Werro sat just a few steps behind her through the first lap, hitting 400 meters at around 55.8. She was controlled, she was patient, and she was exactly where she needed to be. Werro made her move. She took the lead and didn't look back. Behind her, Femke Broders-Ball and the French runner Anaïs Bourgoin were fighting for position. Broders-Ball is a 2-time world 400-meter hurdles champion who moved to the 800 meters this season. Werro hit 600 meters in 1 minute 25.27. The target split was 1 minute 24.50. She was behind the pace lights, she knew it. She said after the race that she tried to chase them down over the final 200 meters, but the gap at 600 was just too much to fully close. With 100 meters to go, Bourgoin pushed into second. Broders-Ball responded down the home straight and fought back. Neither of them had anything for Werro. She pulled away and crossed the line. The time was 1 minute 53.80. A new personal best, a new Diamond League record, the world lead, and the 3rd fastest time any woman has ever run over 800 meters. Broders-Ball crossed in 1 minute 55.6. A massive personal best in her very first Diamond League 800-meter race ever. Bourgoin ran 1 minute 55.65, a new French national record. But none of those numbers were what the crowd, the commentators, and the athletics world were focused on. Because there is one number that sits above all of this. A number that has been sitting there since 1983, and Werro just got closer to it than almost anyone in history. What is that number? We need to talk about where it came from. July 26, 1983, Munich's Olympic Stadium. A woman named Jarmila Kratochvilova from Czechoslovakia stepped onto the track for an 800-meter race. She was 32 years old. Her main event was the 400 meters. This was her first ever international race over 800 meters. The Guardian she ran 1 minute 53.28. She ran the second lap faster than the first, 56.82 going out, 56.46 coming home. She got stronger as the race went on. That time has now stood for 43 years. Olympic champions like Caster Semenya and Pamela Gelimo came close. Nobody broke it. In fact, only one other woman in all of history had ever run sub 1 minute 54 before this year, and that was Nadezhda Olizarenko at the 1980 Moscow Olympics, more than 4 decades ago. Here is where it gets complicated. Kratochvilova competed in an era when out-of-competition drug testing did not exist. Eastern Bloc nations, including Czechoslovakia, were later found to have run systematic doping programs across their sports. No positive test has ever been found on Kratochvilova. She has denied any wrongdoing throughout her life. But the cloud has never fully lifted from a record this old, this fast, and this untouched. In 2017, European Athletics formally asked World Athletics to reset all records set before 2005, pointing to the lack of proper testing controls in that era. World Athletics declined, so the record stands. And for most of the past 4 decades, it has felt genuinely unreachable. One of the greatest sprinters of her era once said it would last 100 years. Right now, a 22-year-old from Freiburg, Switzerland, is making that prediction look very shaky. How close is Audrey Werro? And what does she think is coming? Let's put the gap on the table. Kratochvilova's world record, 1 minute 53.28. Werro's time in Paris, 1 minute 53.80. The difference is 52 hundredths of a second. That is half a second standing between a 22-year-old Swiss runner and the oldest standing track record in the world. And here is what makes it more remarkable. Werro has now run sub 1 minute 54 twice. No woman in modern history has done that. When she crossed the line in Stockholm 3 weeks ago at 1 minute 53.98, that was already one of the greatest 800-meter performances of the century. She backed it up in Paris and went faster. After the race, Werro was direct about what she saw in herself at the 600-meter mark. She said she was a little bit late and tried to chase the lights. She knows exactly where the time went. That kind of tactical awareness from a 22-year-old runner in only her second year at this level is not normal. She also said something that should have every 800-meter fan paying close attention to the rest of this season. She said the world record is easier to break when she is in a race with someone who can match her pace. She specifically named Keely Hodgkinson. Hodgkinson was not in Paris on Sunday. She was absent from this field, and Werro still ran 1 minute 53.80. The thought of what those two can do head-to-head, both pushing for the record at the same time, is genuinely exciting.